Can we use Play-Doh to make a complete circuit and turn on these lights? Stay tuned for the answer to that question. Hi. I'm Ms. Steph, and you're on Live with Ms. Steph on December 9th, 2024. I'm so glad to see all of you today. Thank you for waiting for me and bearing with me. Yes, I know this live is supposed to take place at 11:30, but hello. Thank you so much for watching. But the reality is that I, as I mentioned last week, have introduced an additional 2 locations, actually 3, an additional 3 locations to my traveling science teacher schedule. And therefore we are still working out the schedule things, such as the live. So anywho, thank you so much for coming on, watching, hanging out with me. Yes, like I said, we're going to answer the question, can we use Play-Doh as part of a complete circuit? Towards the end, that is going to be our activity for today. So I'm going to put that up there for now. As far as your news, Tony, thank you so much for watching. I do want to shout you out because you've been on my lives before. Thank you so much for coming on and for just being awesome. I think you're another fellow STEAM educator. So shout out to you. Shout out to the parent that just joined. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Like I said, I'm coming on a bit later than planned, but such is life. This is what we do. As far as being an educator, you make the adjustments. So let's talk about the calendar. Last week was fantastic. It was amazing, and I had so many activities. I went to a lot of stuff. I ran several classes last week, and when I say several, like way more than 2 or 3. But Giving Tuesday was fantastic. If you want to get the replays of the 3, count them, 3 Giving Tuesday lives, as well as the recap that I did the next day, definitely check those out. They are on my Instagram, and a few of them are on YouTube as well. As I said, I'm integrating additional traveling science teacher locations and consulting sites this week, last week and this week. And so we are hopping. The schedule is like moving. When I say we are meeting that 1,000 children served in person in 2024, that is happening. I'm quite sure we surpassed it. I need to look at my numbers. That'll be part of my, I set intention, I plan, and then I execute, right? So the part of the execute step is then not a recap, but a review of things. And so that I'll be doing actually during the last week of the year when we don't have programming. I'll be hanging out in another state, relaxing, but reviewing the year and doing some planning. Shout out to Dr. EJT for all the things that she does in the Black education space. And I'll actually be using some of her tools to do that. So I want to shout her out because there are tools of my own, but I want to make it super clear that I'm using that tool to help me get ready for next year. So that being said, last week was phenomenal. Thank you for those of you who brought your children out to all the activities, to the Giving Tuesday activities, of course, the classes that we had. And then on Saturday, like I said, we have Saturday Science Club, first, second, and third Saturdays typically. But this month, it's looking like we're not going to have Saturday Science Club on the 21st, y'all, because as far as I know right now, Wadley is saying that the space is going to be closed for renovations. And as you all know, we have been partnering over there for some time now. And right now I'm speaking to my Saturday Club parents for 2 seconds. But y'all know that we have had to be a bit fluid this fall in using that space because they are doing construction over there. And on the 21st, the construction is happening again. So I'm not expecting us to be able to have Saturday Science Club unless that changes within the next couple of days before we meet again on the 14th. Prepare yourselves now, because I like to prepare people. That's why I do these lives and do the things that I do and send out the texts and send out the notifications and the emails so that you all know how to plug into the community. But yes, I'm expecting for Wadley as a building to not be available on the 21st. And that here in New York City actually is the start for the majority of my students. That's the start of the winter holiday break, Intihu. And so I feel like that is a good time to break in the first place. And so that's something that you should keep in the back of your brain cells, as my godmother would say. The 21st, no Saturday Science. Let's just call it now. But we will absolutely have Saturday Science Club on the 14th. And we are going to be celebrating Computer Science Education Week. Now, sometimes folks are always talking to me about, Miss Stephanie, do you do coding? Do you do coding? To a degree, I do more of a pre-coding curriculum, meaning the activities that I do with children, pretty much everything I do, supports young people to go to whatever the next level might be for them. So, for example, when it comes to computer science, which again, this week, December 9th through 14th, through 15th, is the celebration of Computer Science Week, National Computer Science Week. And actually, I want to say it's an international holiday. Well, not holiday, but celebration. We do Hour of Code. In previous years, I've done Hour of Code through the Hour of Code website. Over the last couple of years, I've actually done coding, like I said, pre-coding activities by drilling into the skill set that's needed to be able to write code. So that skill set of having a comprehension of what steps y'all need to take place to be able to get something to happen, right? Because people who are writing code are essentially, they are writing the instructions. That's what a program is. The instructions for a computer to run to be able to execute a specific task. And so when I'm doing the work at the pre-K and elementary school level on having a comprehension of what each step does and why, making sure you do the steps in a specific order to be able to complete your task, that really, like I said, is a pre-coding concept. And you'll see several posts up for our friend Botley. I love Botley. Botley was introduced to me. I had seen it online, but it was fully introduced to me on loan in 2023 during summer camp. Shout out to that parent. You know who you are. The parent and actually our camper lent us their Botley for a week during our tech and engineering week. And then later the camp, I enjoyed it so much. Later in the camp, I brought it back for math week and I actually ordered 2 Botleys. So that we were able to partake in the use of it. We'll show that later at a later time. I don't want to confuse things by having too many things out with me. But Botley, I'm going to drop that down below. Actually, it's spelled with a lowercase. You know, there are certain ways that things are spelled. Botley. It's a fabulous item. I wouldn't even call it a toy. It's a fabulous educational item. There's a remote control. And when I say remote control, I mean that kind of loosely because really you're using that device to do some computational learning by putting in directional instructions, forward, back, left, and right. That's what it does. And then you press go and it tries to go through. So the way that I use that device with my younger children, the kids that I just had, like our toddlers, ages 2, 3, and 4, those young people, they're just trying to like press, they get to press the button and then they press the go button. And then they see, oh, what I just put in, that's where it went. Okay. Now, then with the elementary school children, we then incorporate our friends, either the flakes or the straws. They build a maze and then they try to navigate Botley through that maze. And so once again, we're celebrating Computer Science Education Week. The devices I will be using are the device is Botley and the other tools are our creative flakes or the brain flakes that you know that I gave out that we as a community distributed in our STEAM starter kits last week, and then our straws. The straws you all haven't seen in a little while, but if you look back at some of the things from summer camp, we actually use the straws to make a bridge and then run our Hot Wheels over it. So you see how I'm always pushing all 5 letters of STEAM and how we're always working together to build a foundation. Y'all, if you learn nothing else from me and if you haven't got a concept of what I'm doing, I'm laying foundation so that when they get to middle school, high school, and college, they're able to really grab onto not only the fact that they think that science is fun, but that they have some foundational skills, the basics, to be able to navigate their science educational experience. All right. So once again, hi, Ms. Steph, and we're on live on December 9th, 2024. So let's go ahead and do this activity. I did this with the majority of my students last week. Even Saturday Science Club got to see it. I'm going to walk y'all through what it is for those of you who heard about me doing it and didn't get a chance to partake, or maybe said, hey, I want to try that with my kid. Several of you told me that. And when I say you, I mean the adults. I know I'm talking to the adults here. And so, trusty dandy tray. Don't know how I feel about these trays. Amazon. It's like simple. The kids trace, younger students trace. They talk about identifying the shapes. Sometimes they'll identify this shape here that they see, right? What's this shape? Y'all, what are these shapes? You see how there's several shapes that are available. As I was sharing in one of the lives when I did an unboxing as far as why I like to use, one of the many reasons I like to use a 9-volt battery is it really gives you a very, very hands-on when they're heavy, okay? And they're easier to connect. You'll see that in a second. But it gives you this hands-on, like a very tangible concept of what's going on with the electricity. It's easier to see the negative and the positive, where the negative and the positive leads go. That's extremely important for this specific project especially, and really for any electricity activity that you're doing, because electricity is directional. All right, so once again, you're on live with Ms. Steph, midday. I think I may need to just say that we're doing this at 12, I think, instead of 11:30. We've got some Play-Doh. This is manufactured Play-Doh. Again, in the unboxing video, go back and look at it. In the unboxing video, I talked about why, I'm going to type this in, why I like to use manufactured Play-Doh and this specific brand, the Hasbro brand of Play-Doh. Hasbro, shout out to y'all, Play-Doh. So this is not necessarily an unboxing or a review, but it is to a degree, right? So the new formulation and the way that they're putting it into that would be probably one of the only kind of negative things that I would say about this Play-Doh these days, is that it is a lot harder to get out of the container, because the way that they're packing it sticks to that one side. Back in the day, you used to be able to kind of, I don't know if y'all remember, right? And tap it and get it to go ahead and come out. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Nyambi and Tony, thank you all for coming on in. Let's make sure a few other people know that we're here right now doing our live with Ms. Steph, our weekly live with Ms. Steph, y'all. We have so much fun on a regular basis. And I really love it that there's so much support happening in the community. Y'all, last week, y'all showed out. And thank you so much for all of that. The people who folks shared the fundraiser and all that type of stuff. And I talk a bit about kind of I go into detail in one of the lives from last week as far as how the funds are supporting Saturday Science Club, the amount of time that children are not getting in science on, in a weekly basis, 40 minutes or less. Travesty. Anyway, so you can see that I make my pieces of Play-Doh. As I said, I strongly prefer this brand. Have I tried other brands? Yes, I have. Have I tried it with like my own DIY Play-Doh? Yes. Now, I have multiple DIY Play-Doh recipes that are fantastic for manipulative play and getting those muscles, practicing the grip, right? What you need to be able to do some other fine motor activities is very important for early childhood students to be able to do that. But when it comes to this particular activity, my Play-Doh circuits, I'm telling y'all, get y'all some Hasbro and be done. The other stuff works, but like not well. Right? Sphere. Again, we're using our 9-volt battery. The brand of that doesn't necessarily matter. I have been rocking with the Amazon brand for some time. So if you've got little ones as an under age 5, this is the part that you're going to have them do, is rolling their sphere. Everybody gets a sphere. Okay. You need to end up with 2 piles. If you have them set in like groups of 3 or whatever, one of them needs to kind of go, I usually tell them like, make a snowman, and then they can pile it up. Again, I'm doing everything I do ends up being computational learning, right? The process. That's what coding is. Learning about the processes and the steps that you need to put into a device to tell it, hi, hey girl, congratulations. I saw your post about about the situation on Netflix and the streaming and all that type of stuff. So shout out to you, Nasha, for all the stuff that you've got going on. But yeah, we're on live with Ms. Steph, and we are doing our Play-Doh circuits. So does it matter what color you hook up? It does not. Now, is there a tradition to where the black wire goes to the negative lead and the red wire goes to the positive lead? Yes. But is that necessary for this particular learning experience for the children? No. The thing that you're wanting them to understand is that one of these things, because you're building a complete circuit means that you get basically that loop. Okay, the loop. All right. So, boom. All right. All right. Because that's the other thing is that you want them to be able to see, because legit circuit, the word circuit comes from circle. And so you're teaching them that indirectly. All right. Other things. Your older students, your upper elementary school students can do this whole step. My littles, I don't know about y'all, but I don't have the littles do that. I have them put the Play-Doh on the plate, and they can push this in. Again, you see how gently and easily I did that. But a young person, somebody who's 2, 3, and 4, that takes a bit of energy for them to be able to do that and push it down in. And they don't necessarily have a concept of how hard they need to push. And so that's one of the things that they get to practice, okay? Your 2 spheres of Play-Doh. You have your alligator clips. I prefer the alligator clips. Why? Because it's easier to clip onto here. Do I have a complete circuit yet? Absolutely not. I have the beginnings of a complete circuit, but do I have a complete circuit yet? No. Okay? So, my circuit is complete when there's no gap. Okay? So, I am going to place my LED. These are the 10, okay? The 10 ohm, okay? So sometimes I've used the 3 and the 5s in the past. The 10, you see how big that is? That's a lot easier for a small child to manipulate, right? Also, one of the legs is shorter. The leg that's shorter is the leg that's going to go into the negative, into the Play-Doh that's attached to the negative. Again, you can go black and red, but you really don't have to. I'm about to show y'all something. Whoop. And the light is on. Can y'all see that? Especially now if I turn my light, that way. You should be able to notice that the light is on now. Isn't that fantastic? Play-Doh circuits. 1, 2, 3. You see how simple that is? All of them, like legit, all the way down to the tray. Everything I got on Amazon. Am I advertising Amazon? No, I'm not. Am I saying you can get it from there? Yes. All right. So this has been Live with Ms. Steph. I am getting ready to roll out. Does anybody have any questions? We got several people that have come on. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in and joining us. So yes. So I've got a question from, I think it's from a DM. A question about like, which class is this from? So traveling science teacher. Okay. Traveling science teacher. This is what we did last week. And of course, you can do different levels. Y'all know as science teachers, we do really a lot of our lessons are kind of the same thing, but we do it at different stages. And there's different ways that you can decide, okay, so I know my pre-K students, maybe it's not safe for them to try to deal with something that's like, you know, has these little pokey ends. So what I do is I kind of get it started for them and then I tell them to push. Right? Push. Done. The dexterity and the fingertip strength you need to be able to clip off and on. It's very important. Other things that are super important. Do not, for those of you who are not science teachers and maybe not familiar with this, a couple of things I found this out because again, science is not taught hands-on to folks. And so there's certain things that people don't know about electrical circuits. And by the way, these circuits, this is stuff that's inside of our phones and our computers and all that type of stuff. Does it look exactly like this? No. But are these some of the underlying principles? Yes. So when we're talking about doing computational thinking and we're doing Ms. Steph, how are you celebrating CS Education Week? Is this really it is? Yes, it is. It's very related. All right, because how your circuits are connected inside the computer matters. If they're not hooked up properly, it's not going to work. Okay, so it starts with learning this basic stuff. Okay, so things that you don't do. What I would never do is take, say, an alligator clip. I'm not even going to do it here. I'm just going to tell you. Like, I wouldn't take an alligator clip and then connect these to each other. Your battery will get very warm because you're now completing the circuit inside of here. And the charge is just moving. And you get a conversion from electrical energy. It goes from chemical energy because that's what's inside of here in the first place, BTW. Okay? Chemical energy then gets converted to electrons that are flowing through the wires, which is now what is electrical energy. That's all electricity is. It's electrons flowing through wire. Okay. And you get that loop, and now it becomes dangerous because it will even smoke. And you get heat instead of the electrons now being converted, instead of your chemical energy converted to electrical energy, which then gets converted to light energy, right? You saw the lights turn on. And that's how we're teaching about conservation of energy and all that type of stuff. So yeah, like I could like go on and on and on. But yes, it's super fun and super cool. And the next part that they learn is how to properly dismantle. Engineers not only need to put things together, but they need to be able to take things apart. You learn from taking things apart as well as putting them together. So we lift up very safely. Okay. Right, very properly. Very demure. Okay. Put these back together. And that's usually how I kind of store my things so that I know that I have enough pairs. Yeah, teacher tip there. That's one of the ways to make sure I have the proper amount of sets. And I usually go with an extra 2 sets, an extra 2 batteries, extra Play-Doh. So you see, so this Play-Doh, after the electricity has been piped through a couple of times, as I mentioned in our unboxing, it won't work anymore. Okay? because it's using up what's inside of here. The thing that conducts electricity that's inside of manufactured Play-Doh is the salt. Okay? Salt. For y'all that don't know. Or rather, table salt. Table salt contains a metal. Okay? The sodium. All right? And so that then reacts and is able to conduct the electricity. And so we have it there. You see how everything then is very neatly. That's the final step. You have enough time for any of your classes, right? You see how now they've had to put the materials back and reset for either your next class or whatever and what have you. That's it, y'all. We have been on for a few minutes now, and so I'm going to get ready to go ahead and log out and make sure I answer all the questions that I have. But I'm super excited to go through this week. We've got our traveling science teacher schedule, and all of the sites already know. Y'all know who you are. But in particular, the community activity or event that we're running is our Saturday Science program, and that's from 12 to 2 p.m. this coming Saturday on December 14th. After that, we will not be doing any public facing special events. There's a few folks that have asked me to kind of join in on pajama parties at schools and stuff. But we won't be doing any public facing events again until January. Thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. Until next time, have an absolutely wonderful day.